Hello, digital charcuterie people. Hello, Marvel fans, and hello, Marvel United fans. You know, the thing about Marvel United is it's all about seeing great crossovers that don't happen too often in real life. And that's kind of like what this video is.
Bam, crossover. Hi, folks. G'day, folks. How you going? Meeple Monkey here. Here with Andrew Fantasia, and we're looking forward to getting into this. It's like a top, I guess it's like a top 5 list, but if we combine our forces together for a crossover, it's like a top 10 list. So I guess, you know, we're backing each other up with those actions. So it's good.
Exactly. It's going to be like Meeple Monkey's going to play a move and a punch, and I'm going to take that and throw a star in there, and it's all going to be gravy.
Great. And we've already leveled up too, because like last time I tried to jump on someone's stream with Kanji Studios, couldn't get the sound to work, and we've already got that working now. So as long as you guys can hear us, that's good.
And if you can't hear us, address all of your complaints to James Brazile at Digital Charcuterie. He'll take care of everything. We promise.
Fantastic.
So as everybody watching might know, if you have watched any of the Meeple Monkey stuff or any of our stuff here, both of us here, we can't stand Marvel United. We think it's a terrible game. We played it like for 2 minutes and we just quit, right?
Yeah, it's over-designed. It's just a mess. There's too many complicated rules, and yeah, it's just
Yeah, we like sticking to the simple stuff like Frosthaven, but
I like that. Was it on Mars or what's that guy that makes the big Vito Lasada games? Yeah, they're the nice. Yeah, just really super streamlined. Yeah, nice.
When I got Frosthaven in the mail a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I've only played it twice since I got it, because every time you pull it out, it's like it's on the table for a weekend and it's not moving. So right. Before Marvel United came into my life, Gloomhaven was my favorite game, and now I look at it and I'm like, I'm sorry, Haven series.
I think the older I'm getting, and like the older my kids are getting and stuff as well, it's just like I appreciate a nice simple game. You can just get to the table quickly. You don't have to have a lot of setup. Yeah, not a lot of brain power to play it too. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I love some Gloomhaven characters like the whatchamacallit and the Barbarian Face or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I went to go see the Spider-Verse movie last night with my best friend and his girlfriend and stepdaughter and everything, and they have all played Marvel United with me. And my friend's stepdaughter, she's I think 12, and she loves Penny Parker.
Oh, yep. With the one with the robot?
Yeah, exactly. And I told her, I said, hey, just so you know, we're getting a spider box this summer sometime where Penny Parker's going to be playable. Her face lit up like a Christmas tree. She's like, I want to be there.
Yeah, that's like my daughter with who's the one, Songbird, is it? The one with the big purple wings?
Yeah.
What's the show to that model? Yeah, like because it's all about Pixie at the moment. Like, whenever we play, I'm always encouraging, like, oh, why don't you try someone different, you know? It's like, nah, want to be Pixie again, sort of thing. So Songbird's going to give Pixie a run for her money, I think. So
yeah. And now your daughter's also going to get to experience that coolness of like, what if I take Pixie and Songbird and team them up?
Oh, put them together. Yeah, well, now I know who I have to play every time. I'm going to play more. Oh, actually, well, with our list, there might be some others sneaking into the mix too. So we'll see. Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, these are going to be some fun lists for anybody who didn't read the title of this video. Meeple Monkey and I, we don't just love Marvel. We love all kinds of stuff.
True.
And the nature of Marvel United is that you can plug and play so much. What happens if you plug and play entirely new franchises? Can it work? Is it going to be peanut butter and chocolate? Probably.
Hopefully, yeah. I've just, as you were speaking, I just remembered another runner-up, so I just jotted that down.
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. Cool.
So you've got 5 options that you came up with, your top 5 plus runner-ups. I've got 5 options as well. I only have one honorable mention that I thought was worth like really throwing out there, so I'll put that in there, and that's about it. But altogether, you guys are going to get 10 cool ideas, and Simon, if you're watching, and you are, use them.
Of course, I mean, we've got all the big names here, right? This is of course. Yeah, I think I've got about five runners up too, so I've really got like a top 10 list.
Your runners up might be my top 5 at the end.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Interesting to see if there's any crossover. I think with a few, probably not. There might be one or two. We'll see.
Let's guess how many do you think we'll have crossover?
I think maybe only one or two.
One or two. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say one. I'm gonna say one is a safe bet. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of your videos, when I see your videos,
you got the inside track.
Exactly. Yeah, I do. I might have a little bit of foreknowledge here, but like when your videos pop up and we get like, okay, My Hero Academia stuff and Street Fighter stuff, I'm like, ooh, he's got stuff I haven't even thought of. I'm sure you're gonna pull out a lot of cool ideas that I never would have even imagined. So I think one is a safe bet for crossovers.
Okay, yeah. We'll see. The other thing is too, I go back and forth on my opinions too. So anything I've said in past videos might be completely. I might have turned around on it too.
Yeah, this list will be completely different in about a week when we change our minds.
That's right. Awesome.
Well, I think we should get started. How do you feel?
Yeah. Let's get into it. Yeah, excited to hear about it. Excited to hear about the ideas and then like the reasoning and stuff too. So
yes,
cool. Yeah.
All right, Meeple Monkey, why don't you give us your first, either your first honorable mention or your number 5, whatever you want. I think
let's. How about we go through the list and then we can mention the honorable mentions. That way, we're mentioning the honorable mentions at the end, sort of thing, but we're not confusing him with the thingy, because otherwise I'll be here for days with the mentions.
True.
So now I've just got to make sure, because I messed up my list here. I've got to make sure I'm reading it right, because I had my number 4 as number 5 at one stage, and then I've mixed it around again. So okay, here we go. Okay, 5. All right, my number 5. All right, my number 5 is. All right, you refer to it in different ways. Probably the easiest way is the Three Kingdoms China period, Three Kingdoms idea, right? So you have, do you know the Dynasty Warriors game?
Yes.
Dynasty or Dynasty Warriors? Okay, so that's all based on this Three Kingdoms period in China. It's kind of like mythologized. It's like a historical period, but it's it's been really romanticized and stuff. And there's like a novel, I think, called Romance of the Three Kingdoms and that sort of thing as well. So that set of like 500 million characters, all the cast and crew from that era, from those games, because you get about 80 playable characters per game or something. That's my number 5 pick. I love that series of video games. And it sort of sparked an interest in sort of Chinese history for me, sort of thing, which is sort of a really embarrassing thing, because it's like all I know about their history is like from video game recaps and stuff. And so, so really, really love that game. So the pros are, it's got tons of characters. Like, so you got characters for days. So if you're wanting to sort of have the breadth of characters that we have in Marvel United, it's got a sort of similar amount that you could sort of draw from and that sort of thing. And I think the really interesting thing about them is they all have their unique weapons. They're named weapons that are like, you can level them up and they're all super good. So if we lean into the equipment side of things, because that's that new mechanic now with season 3, being able to sort of have like different like named weapons for each character, that would be really cool. So that's where I'm like, this would be a perfect match sort of thing. Just such epic legendary heroes and figures. The other thing that's interesting, you could go one or two ways, because in the video games, it's kind of like you can pick the 3 different, the blue guys, the red guys, or the green guys, right? The Shu Kingdom, the Wu Kingdom, and the Wei Kingdom. I think I've mixed up the order in which those colors go, but generally in the games and like the storytelling way are kind of like the bad guys, right? They're always like, they seem to be the jerks, right? So,
right.
But they're a fully playable faction in the game. So you could either have, just when you design your characters, the Wei guys are your villains, or because you can play and fight against anyone in those games, it pretty much leads to a whole system where everyone could be anti-heroes, because everyone can be a hero and everyone can be a villain, sort of thing. So that's my number 5. Cons with that, I've got some cons for each of my my ideas. The cons is that it's the thing that, I've started dabbling in homebrew and making some stuff, and I've jumped on board with a couple of people's ideas and making characters for their systems that they're making. But the one that I would like to start up myself would be Dynasty Warriors, and I've started thinking about it now that I know how to make the cards and stuff. But as I'm getting down to it, they're all just warriors, so I don't know that there's enough variation in the different types of characters. Like, you've got a couple of heroic warrior, but they're all like their special abilities. I'm really struggling to work out how to make them all different, because they all essentially do a big giant chop with their swords, sort of thing. So, do you know?
Right.
Yeah. So there's not enough like superpowers in that sense. They all just have big sword swings. So that's my number 5 is Dynasty Warriors, or the Three Kingdoms period.
That's a great choice, man. I love how creative that is. I played one Dynasty Warriors game. My friend rented it from a video store back in the day. Remember those?
Yeah. Actually, they just, sorry to interrupt, they just, like, literally last week, they talk about the Blockbuster, the last Blockbuster store and stuff like that. We've had this like derelict Blockbuster building in our neighborhood for like decades, and they just knocked it down like last week. So it's finally gone. That might be the last of the last Blockbuster video store.
Oh, that's sad.
Sorry, go ahead.
Renting games used to be such a my friend rented, I don't know which Dynasty Warriors it was. I want to say it was an early one, like maybe 3 or something. And what I remember most about it was split up into, okay, now you have to fight this army or this tribe or whatever. So that might be a good way to differentiate. I remember one of the tribes, for example, was called the Yellow Turban Society, and they had their whole political views, whatever. So like it could be, the boxes, the expansions you get are like, okay, you want the Yellow Turban Society box? Here you go. Here's like 4 characters from that. And that's at least a good way to keep everybody feeling fresh, maybe really utilize the idea of the team cards.
Yeah. And then even some of the characters have like those like brotherhood bonds and things like that too. And you could have even like, like particular character team ups and stuff like that. Yeah. So I just think if I can work out how to differentiate the attacks and stuff enough, like the special cards, there's a lot to play with there. Yeah. So definitely for sure. And you could even add like a new element, because they all upgrade their swords and stuff in different versions of the game. You could add like a new element to the equipment cards, where you can like upgrade the equipment cards and stuff like that. And the last thing on this is just one thing, but the last thing with Dynasty Warriors as well, they have those big Muso attacks that they trigger when they sort of build up their rage meter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And in some of the versions, if you're standing near another Muso, like another character whose Muso is leveled up, like you can press the buttons at once and they do like a combined Muso team attack. And so I was thinking, you could do a thing where like your Muso cards do a big ability, or if you're standing in the same spot with someone else when they trigger their Muso, you've got a Muso in your hand, all the Muso cards have a thing at the bottom of the thing saying what bonus tokens you might get or what effect you get if you play that out of sequence to boost someone else's turn, sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Something like that. But anyway, yeah. Three Kingdoms.
I love it. 3 Kingdoms. All right, Simon, you better be writing this down. Andrea, I know you're listening. All right, cool. 3 Kingdoms.
I don't know if they got the problem with all of these is getting the rights, right?
Yeah, exactly. Those lawyers, come on. We got to get like a bunch of lawyers, and we got to get them really invested in Marvel United so that they're more willing to let stuff slide.
Yes.
All right. So
your number 5.
My number 5 it's interesting because we were thinking on the same wavelength here. My number 5 also came from a video game.
Okay. Yeah.
Now the thing is, this is a video game that a lot of people love, and I'm going to be honest, I don't particularly care for it because I just don't like the way it plays or it controls. But I thought if I take the concept of this game and throw it into Marvel United, this is something I can get on board with, and that is Smash Brothers.
Oh, now, okay. Does it count as crossover if it's in my honorable mentions, but not my top 5?
Ooh,
I don't know.
Maybe it counts as like half a crossover.
It's a half a crossover. Okay, continue. But yes, I'm on board. You got me.
Perfect. I love it. I was thinking, okay, what are some great IPs that not only, like, the criteria is, sure, yeah, you got to have a lot of characters, but the idea of having lots of heroes versus villains, because that was important, but also the fun gray areas where you can get all those purple characters and all the stuff you can do there. So immediately I thought of, well, you know, instead of just fighting in an arena all the time, which is what I'm not too crazy about the game, what if there was a full game where it's like, hey, I'm Luigi and I'm teamed up with Pikachu and we got to go beat Ganon, right? What if that's a game? And so to the idea of bringing that to the tabletop, that just sounds like so much fun. And then there's so much to that world now that thankfully Smash Brothers as it exists now has grown even beyond just the Nintendo characters. Like Ryu and Ken are there, right? Solid Snake is there. So hey, Simon's got the rights. They just launched a Metal Gear game. So the idea of all these disparate characters just kind of popping together, that makes me so happy. And of course, anti-heroes would totally be a thing. Why am I blanking on an anti-hero? I had one before I started the video.
That's like me. I was trying to think of something when I was talking about Three Kingdoms, and I was like, I can't think of what I was going to say.
Oh, Shadow the Hedgehog. He's an anti-hero. 100%. Right? Somebody like that. So, and I mean, when you think of like Mario, Zelda, and Sonic alone, that's a lot of characters to choose from already. And then you throw in the likes of Kirby, the likes of Pokemon. You've got enough for plenty of seasons worth of game here.
Yeah. Because originally, like what I'd written down in my notes for this thing was because, you know, Street Fighter, I really like Street Fighter, and a guy named Norlith in the Discord is making Street Fighter characters, which I've jumped on board with as well. But what he hasn't called it Street Fighter. He's doing Marvel vs. Capcom, and that's a big breadth of characters. I was like, oh yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom, and so that's what I'd written down. And then I thought, oh no, wait. You know what's even bigger now than Marvel vs. Capcom is Smash Brothers, because it's got some of those characters from Marvel vs. Capcom, but it's got all the other characters as well. So yeah, totally, and it really suits that mashup theme that Marvel United has going for it, and especially with the multiverse that we've just recently had, even more mashup. You know, so yeah, great pick. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love that'd be so much fun. Like Zelda and Peach versus Liquid Snake. Go.
Yes. 100%. So good. And look, the great thing about Marvel vs. Capcom is you've got half your characters already designed in Marvel United anyway. So good. Awesome. Yeah. All right. I like that one. Should we? Are we on to it? We need like a little video thing with like number 4.
Yeah, some kind of whooshing graphics.
Woo, number 4. Okay, so what have I got? Number 4 here. All right, you ready?
Ready.
Okay, this was once upon a time my one and only IP wish. This is the one that when I first started thinking of the idea of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to like put something else into Marvel United? This is the one that I was looking for, and that is G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. Okay, so G.I. Joe has a special place in my heart. It was the number one toy that I was obsessed with as a kid. Look, I had all the different toys from the 80s, but G.I. Joe I got into in such a way that like I was collecting them way later than I should have been. Like as a kid, late primary school, still playing with G.I. Joes and stuff. But I just used to love them. It was I've got half American heritage as well, so it had the whole, American sort of thing as well. When I was a kid going, yeah, American. But the actual toys, like in an era where every other toy was like Star Wars figures like this, or like, Ninja Turtles, they could kind of do this, and that's all they could do. The articulation points on those GI Joes were a miracle, and like, so you could play them running around, and then they get riddled with bullets, and you could make them sort of flop around like this, and like they could twist and turn, and it was amazing. Like, best toys ever. So GI Joe has a special place in my heart. So let's bring GI Joe back to Marvel United. What's it got? Another game with a bajillion heroes. So many heroes, lots of different guys, lots of different types. And I feel like with that set of characters, they're all unique. Like, they're not all just got a guy with a sword. They all have their specialist roles and that sort of thing. So that's where you could really lean into different character designs for the heroes. I think that'd be really cool. And they've got some really, diabolical, memorable villains. And the thing is, though, there's not a ton of villains, I think. So this is the con with GI Joe, is not a ton of villains, but there's a bajillion like henchman type. So I don't know if you lean into like maybe making each Viper its own villain battle. Maybe the Vipers they're not, So I think there's a lot of scope there for the way your henchmen could work, but that's the one thing with GI Joe is the villains. But other than that, like, so many heroes, so many cool storylines. Just amazing. And I was one of the things, I thought this was a lock. I was like, this is amazing. I should contact Simon. They've got to do this. It's amazing, because I thought it's Marvel, right? Because I remember reading the Marvel comics.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And there's some amazing storylines there and everything. But then when I looked into it, Marvel don't make the comics anymore. Like, they sold the franchise to like IDW, and IDW did some. So there's a deck builder that's actually a pretty fun deck builder. I think by IDW. No, Renegade Game. There's a deck builder, GI Joe deck builder, that's out at the moment. It's actually pretty fun, but it's all based on the art and stuff from the IDW stuff. So it's like, it's not quite that Marvel stuff that I remember. Although, to be honest, excuse me. To be honest, if I went back and read those Marvel comics, they're probably not as good as I remember anyway. But
yeah, that's how it usually goes.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's GI Joe is my number 4. I just think it's a very different IP sort of thing, but it's still, because it was Marvel, it's almost like it still fit in that world of the Marvel comics. I'm not sure what the continuity was there when they were writing them, but I'm not sure if the G.I. Joe organization sat in the same universe as like Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. And, I'm not sure if those things went together sort of thing or not. But, technically maybe they do exist in the same world. So
maybe. I'm sure they must have met
once upon a time. Yeah. So G.I. Joe. Snake eyes, and you have your expansion boxes like the ninja set, and the what were those guys, the punk guys called, the Zartan and the dreadlocks or the dreadnoughts or something. Anyway.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can't remember their names. And I mean, there's so much cool vehicle stuff going on in there too. Simon could really start a whole new thing with just vehicle minis, and you can have a lot of fun.
You've sold it. You've sold it. I was like, it's got that weakness of the villains, but then you've got the vehicles. Yeah. It's like Dynasty Warriors with the equipment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You gotta lean in. You gotta have a selling point. Why do you need to get this core set? Because you need to get all these extra rules now for the rest of the stuff. Yeah,
exactly. I love it. And I think we now have another half a crossover.
Okay.
You'll see what I mean in a few notches here, but
okay.
It's interesting. We've got it. There's some crossover action happening.
Oh, nice. Well, see, that's the theme of Marvel United, right? Everything is crossover.
Yeah. All right. Where's my 4? Right. There's my 4. So with my number 4, I went really weird and outside the box. I got super greedy, and I just went with something that I personally love. I might be the only one who wants to see this as a United.
I'm glad you said that, because I was like, are we supposed to be making this list by what we think is marketable or like what we want to see?
So I went with an IP that's like near and dear to my heart, even though it's very small compared to everything else we're probably going to talk about today. But it's something
Mhm.
I've wanted to see adapted as a really sweet board game for a long time,
Okay.
and
Yep.
that's James Bond.
Oh, wow. That's left field. I was not,
Yeah.
this is blowing my mind. So this is not crossover, but it's like, whoa, I hadn't even thought of it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's completely. I can totally understand if anybody watching this would be like, I don't want that. I get it. But I just love the idea of let's take the like the female lead from this one. Like let's take Halle Berry's character and let's put her with a Bond she never met, like Sean Connery, and let's have them fight
Okay.
a Daniel Craig villain
Mhm,
and see
mhm.
what that's like. And I always thought that would make a really interesting board game, and I never kind of found a
Ooh,
way to toy with it. And I thought maybe United might be a good way to put all those
yeah,
pieces together. James Bond
yeah,
has a lot of allies. He has a lot of
yeah,
kind of sketchy allies who could be
yeah,
anti-heroes, and
yeah,
then the villains and henchmen are so much fun in the James Bond universe. They're so different. They all have a different
yeah.
plan.
Jaws. Yeah.
Yeah. So seeing
How
them
goes that?
adapt their plans and like put those into
Mm,
action and be like, how does this guy work? How does the bad guy from Live and Let Die beat me? What's he going to do to me? Like
yeah.
that is the fun of Marvel United, and seeing that adapted to what they do in James Bond, I think that could be really,
Ah.
really fun.
And can I put it to you to add some expansion legs for that? Is you could take the theme of James Bond, right? And you could have your Austin Powers set. It's kind of like the Deadpool
Yes.
set, right? Your Austin Powers set. So you got your gold member and your all that sort of stuff. And Austin Powers dad. But you could also then throw in like your Born Ultimatum universe, like so you have James,
Yeah.
what is that's kind of like your Marvel and your DC crossovers. You have your like James Bond teaming up with Jason Bourne sort of thing,
Yes.
crossover of universes. So you could have could almost be like the James Bond genre of spies, bring them together. I
I
like it.
love it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I'm just thinking with James Bond, yeah, like that's probably got scope for trying to think of like mechanics and stuff. It's almost got scope for like if you like MacGyver, right? So like tricky way, like so what's the, like looking for ways to do tricky things. So maybe like instead of equipment or vehicles or things like that, he's like you get like special I don't know, special plan cards or special things that let you do tricky things to get yourself out of a situation. And
Right.
if you can combine cards in the right way. So I don't know. Yeah, interesting. I'm just thinking that'd be cool. Yeah, yeah,
That would
yeah.
be fun. Yeah, it'd
James
be it'd
Bond.
be a trickier one to adapt than most, but it's just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would love to see those characters on a board game of any kind. So bring it on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is the one that we need Andrea and the gang to be listening to, because we need designers of their caliber to like get their heads around it and like come up with how to make it work.
Yeah, Andrea would probably just hear James Bond and he'd be like, "Oh, okay, I know 20 different ways to make that work." Like he would probably have it locked and ready to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Awesome.
awesome. All right, so that's my number 4. What's your 3?
Number 4. All right, number 3. Here we go. All right. So this one, okay. So this was one. This is my last big hope for like I think crossover. This is potential, right? So another massive childhood cartoon / toy line / franchise, right? They did have a crossover with G.I. Joe as well at one point, which is when I sort of jumped out of this year. I was like, oh, this is too much for me. This is ridiculous. But I was in my cynical early teens then. This is Transformers. Transformers, right? It's like amazing characters, super recognizable. And I'm not talking about, look, some people might like it out there. I'm not talking about Michael Bay. I'm talking about cartoon classic 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess there's an expansion for you, right? You can have the super modern looking ones. But Transformers, a million heroes, a million bad guys, super cool designs. The minis would look sweet. You could you can double the price of the box because you can sell. You have the minis for the cars or whatever, the vehicles, and the minis for the heroes together. So, yeah, Transformers would be great. All of those things, right? But here's the kicker. All right, the kicker is look, expansion. You got your Dinobot set, your Constructicon set, your little tape deck guys and stuff like that. You can have Boomer versus Soundwave. Can't believe I remembered Boomer's name and not it was Boomer, right? No,
Boomer.
Is Boomer the good guy version of Soundwave? Or no, Blaster. I didn't remember Blaster's name. I was going to say you got to remember Soundwave name before you remember Blaster. Boomer. Anyway, okay, but so all those different, all that different stuff. But the kicker is the transforming, right? So you could do it. I guess you could do it lots of different ways. But I was thinking like you could have the cards. I don't know if you've ever played a game called what's it called? It's about mages and they're fighting, not Wiz Wars, Black Rose Wars. Those cards you play these spell cards, and every card that you play that's a spell card is 2 spells. So it's got the spell printed down the bottom and the spell printed up the top, but they're sort of printed opposite to each other. So you can play the card this way or that way, and it will do a different thing. So each card could have its like top is the robot side and the bottom is the vehicle side. And so maybe to do your movement, maybe like you have to sort of flip to the vehicle side or something like that, and so you play them up or down, so like that, or you have them printed on either side. So you have your robot on one side and then your vehicle on the back of the card, essentially. So they have no backs. And then, so you sort of, you shift between them. So maybe you need to turn into a vehicle to sort of be more maneuverable and get around the place. Maybe you need to turn into the robot to do your punches and stuff like that. And, different vehicles would have different abilities on their vehicle side. They might have 1 or 2 vehicle cards that, let them do like a mad burnout or, crash through a wall if you're a big like Optimus Prime or something like that. Or, the fighter planes could do some cool stuff like Starscream and those guys. But because I was thinking, that wouldn't work because then you can see what's coming up, right? But I thought what would be interesting about that is that it gives you an element of like Aeon's End, I think the game is, where you sort of deck build, but you know what's coming up. So because the way you play, you sort of have a little bit of an idea of what cards are coming up in your deck when you start getting damage, because you can choose what order to, especially when you take, say, 2 hits, you can choose what order to put your cards in underneath, right? So that already exists in Marvel United. But this would add that element of, so if you do swap the side that you're going with, robots or vehicles, you also have to flip your deck over so that the deck is the other way around, so you can't see what card's coming up, but you can kind of plan for it because you know what you've been putting under there. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it would be an interesting design space, I think, as well. It's very nebulous as an idea at this stage, but that's my idea: is Transformers, cool characters, cool world, but also you could do something really interesting there with the transforming, I reckon, because it's a simple enough game system that you wouldn't have to do anything too complicated. But I think you could do something that would work there. So there you go. Transformers. That was my last one because it was a big enough IP that I thought, maybe you had that as an idea because it's Transformers, right? Everyone's heard of Transformers, and it's probably one of the more marketable ones that I've got as well. Like I think G.I. Joe and Transformers are the biggest name ones that I've got. So there you go.
Right. Yeah, that's great, man. There's tons of characters, like you said, that works so well. I can totally see every player flipping over that deck and going.
Yes, yes, yeah, absolutely. And maybe on the card it's got that sound effect printed out. So
instead of saying "bam," it literally says.
Yeah. And actually, I hadn't even thought about this, but that adds a whole new thing to the villain. Like the villain would be able to transform back and forth as well. And I don't know how that would work, but maybe you have your threat cards can go back and forth and stuff as well. And
we know we haven't gotten our hands on it ourselves, but we know for a fact Galactus works, so we know Unicron is going to work.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got so yeah, because you could have the Unicron set, and you have like Unicron with your Hot Rod, was it Blur, all those movie guys, you know, have
Yeah.
the movie set. I'm still so scarred by that movie. It's like shameless cash grab to like murder all of my favorite like Transformers just to sell me all the new ones.
Just to get those new toys on the shelves.
I'll never get over like what was the police car's name? Because he was like
Riot.
Was it Riot? Maybe, yeah.
Riot?
Let's say it was right. No, was it Prowl? Maybe it was Prowl.
I think you're right. I think it is Prowl. Yeah.
But anyway, for a good guy to call the police car Prowl, like I get it, like it's a you know, but like it sounds like a super sinister name for like he should be like the most upstanding one. But anyway, to have him murdered in the first 5 minutes of that show, along with all the others, I'll never get over that. And also, because it's Transformers, it's like they've survived way worse than like the bad guys came in and just blasted them with some blasters, which normally they fall over and go, "Oh, I'm knocked down for a little bit." It's like, why aren't they getting back up again? It didn't make any sense. I didn't like it.
They put some new type of energon in those blasters.
Yeah. Quick, we need to move on because I'm reliving trauma now. So.
Great pick, Transformers. Yeah. All right, so for my 3, this is what I meant when I said we're going to get kind of half of a crossover here, and it's
all right.
kind of compounding on what just happened. This is the one that I think is least likely to get lawyers to say yes to. I understand, but I think this would just be paradise to see on a game table. So what I did was I looked at the homebrew Ninja Turtles because of how well produced that homebrew was and how it looks. You know, if I didn't hold it, like I remember you saying like the cardboard feels a little different and everything, but if I didn't hold it in my hand, I'd be like, this looks like Simon made it.
Yeah. 100%. So, and once you get them in the sleeves, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I thought, okay, let's take that idea of the Ninja Turtles there and let's go a step further with it. And I went with Saturday morning 80s cartoons united. So I went with, okay, you've got in one season, you've got Ninja Turtles, you've got G.I. Joe, you've got Transformers and He-Man and Silverhawks and who knows what else. The Smurfs, put the Smurfs in there.
Silverhawks. Yes. Get DuckTales.
Yes.
DuckTales. Yeah.
Oh, I'd be playing as Scrooge McDuck all the time if that was the case.
Yeah. What was it? Darkwing Duck?
Yes. Because the 80s cartoons had that magic where they built themselves on here's a bunch of good guys and here's a bunch of bad guys for them to fight, and let's just watch them fight. And I mean, what better thing to adapt into this game? I'm sure there's plenty of anti-heroes that could fill a whole bunch of those slots. There's heroes.
This could be a whole video. This could be a whole new like top 20 list, because now in my head I'm just thinking Inspector Gadget. Like, do you remember Mask?
Yes, Mask.
Oh, man. Man,
and that's another vehicle heavy set, right? So it can complement G.I. Joe really nicely.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
And so we can live out those dreams of like, okay, sure, Marvel had that comic, but like, let's see what really happens when Snake Eyes and Bumblebee and Donatello team up, and they're like, you know what, Skeletor's got to go down.
Yeah. This is Super Smash Brothers to the next level. This is like big brain. This is what makes your company. Like someone comes up with an idea like this, and then you make $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, actually, $1 bajillion. $1 million isn't enough anymore. Bajillion, $1 million. So I like that. That's very cool. Yeah, because that's actually, I was going to mention when we were talking about runners up and stuff. There's probably a couple that I'm thinking of that, like Ninja Turtles. The reason I wouldn't pick that is it's like, I love that it's great for if you're picking it just to do like a little mini homebrew or like a little mini self-contained set, but it doesn't have the breadth of stuff to make
Right.
a huge, big, sprawling set. But it does if you combine all of them together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, which is essentially like, when they go in, what's that, Wreck-It Ralph, right? Where they go into that world and all of those characters are there, like all the video game characters are hanging out in the hub or whatever. Like, yeah, that's what I picture. That's good. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. There's a new one too, the Disney Wreck-It Ralph world. All of those characters.
Yeah.
This will be a top 50 list by the time we get done with it. All right. Well, yeah, that's a very cool list. A very cool pick, I should say. Yeah.
Thank you.
And very easy to get crossover with, right? Because I had to hit something. So
Exactly.
Awesome. All right. Should I hit what are we up to top 2 already?
We're up to the top 2 already. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Top 2. All right. So, all right. This is top 2. This is where I wasn't sure to include these next 2. Well, no, I guess I'm spoiling things if I say that. But anyway, I wasn't sure whether only to include stuff that essentially we don't need these ones that I'm about to say because I got you covered. Well, I don't have you covered, but others have got you covered, right? But so if you want to, if you like these ideas, you can play them, right? So this first one is almost perfection, the perfect idea, which is My Hero Academia. Okay, so it is a superhero franchise. It's already Marvel United. It's already matches. It's superheroes, right? So it fits in, and then you can have your crossovers with your superheroes from one world fighting with your superheroes from another world against superheroes from either world, sort of thing. So it's got that. It's got a huge amount of characters, maybe not as many as some of these other things we've talked about, but it's got a heap of characters, and they're all really memorable and fun. And they have crazy, like the one of my favorite things about My Hero Academia is just like it's superheroes, right? But just the creativity with some of the superpowers that the creator, I'm not sure who the creator is, but the creators come up like just zany powers, really cool, fun powers, really fun characters. So a lot of fun. So this one doesn't have I haven't come up with as many interesting ideas for it because it doesn't need it. It just is superheroes. It's full of superpowers and that sort of thing. So I just really like it. So Nelly Nell on Marvel United Discord, he's already putting together a bunch of these.
Sweet.
And so he's designed I want to say half a dozen, maybe. I don't know if there's any villains yet. I'm sure he's got villains on the way, but villains. But heroes, we've got those, and there's just so many of them. There's so many. Like each. It's based on these heights. Sorry, I probably should explain what it is, shouldn't I? Because I don't think this one is as well known. So I guess it depends. If you're in the world of anime and you watch animes, I think this is a pretty big anime, especially in the States. I think it's one of the most popular animes in the States, sort of thing. So it's pretty huge in that sense. But anime is its own subset of culture and stuff like that, pop culture. So it doesn't quite have the reach of Marvel or some of these big 80s cartoons that we sort of remember, I guess. But I could be wrong, mate. Maybe there are a lot more people that know it. But it's very big, and it's essentially a world where everybody pretty much has superpowers, except for a very minor sort of percentage of the population. They've all sort of like developed superpowers sort of naturally, I guess. So it's in that context of that world, it's like, how would superheroes work? And so superheroes get licensed as heroes, and they're only allowed, because everyone's got powers, you're only allowed to use powers if you sort of get your license, and then you can go and be a hero. And they get sponsorship and all that sort of stuff. So it's a very market, capitalist sort of superhero world sort of thing. And kids go to superhero school to learn how to like control their powers and all that. It's just part of the curriculum, right? Is superheroing. And there's even like, the you can go on a course for like being a hero. You can go on a course for like designing all the gadgets, so you can be like, Q or whatever, and
sweet
support stuff. Who's that? The lady in The Incredibles. You're the one
Edna.
Edna, yeah. So there's like the Edna school sort of thing as well. So that it's got that whole backdrop. So it's just really, really cool in that sense. And okay, so the last pro is, I'm going to throw a bit of shade here. The last pro is it's a superhero world that we could port across that isn't DC, because it's not DC. It's another thing. So it's very good. But it's the one thing that it's not as good with is there's two. One is it's anime, so and manga, so it's not quite. It's got some themes in it, obviously. There's a few characters that are just a little bit maybe not kid friendly. So it's, I don't know, market wise sort of thing, whether they'd want to touch that sort of thing. But it's still super fun. And the only other thing is it's not my number one pick. So that's the only thing that makes it not perfect. But yeah. So it's very, very cool, very cool. And yeah, just I really that's probably after G.I. Joe, that's probably the one that I was like, oh, what else would I like to see? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'd like to see all the My Hero Academia heroes in this sort of thing. And you can get the other thing about it is you can get little chibi characters pretty easily. Like you can get little models that look similar and around about the same size too.
True.
So yeah.
Oh, that's a great pick, man. I've never seen My Hero Academia, but I know a lot of people who have, and from what they tell me about it, it's very compatible with this system. Like you're saying, good guys, bad guys, powers galore, colorful characters galore, right? So it all works.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think in terms of like which one just is the best fit for Marvel United of the ones that I've picked, it's this, because it is superhero, so it fits straight in, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Good one.
Nice. All right.
Okay. Number two.
Mm-hmm.
So with number two, I went with my favorite thing in the world, because my favorite thing in the world has a lot of board games to its name, but I've yet to play one where I said, this is it. This is the one. And that is Star Wars, everybody. It had to happen for me. I need the perfect Star Wars game, and we're not there. It just doesn't exist. Outer Rim is fun.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right.
It's not,
I thought.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, have you played? The Rebellion? Have you played Star Wars Rebellion?
I haven't played Rebellion, only because I only really like to invest in games that I can play solo, and Rebellion is very much not a solo game. So.
Yeah. That's me these days. But I like, and again, it's not the perfect game because it's not. It's a very specific type of game sort of thing, and it's big and everything. So it's not one that I don't even know. Do I still have it? I think I might have even got rid of my copy, because I really liked it, and it really captures the theme of the first series of movies and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I played a game. It revolves around like you're either the good guys trying to hide around and stuff like that, or you're and prevent the bad guys from finding your base, and they've got to like traipse around this big huge map, and like you fight battles and stuff to sort of like throw them off and all this sort of stuff. And if they find your base and destroy it at the end, it's game over sort of thing. But I was playing a game. I think I was the bad guys, and I've never played it. I don't think I've played it since. My mate, like towards the end of the game, it was getting late or something. He said, "Oh, it's not over there." Like he said, like it wasn't over there, sort of thing. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went over this way. And at the end of the game, he was like, haha, it actually was over here. And I was like, well, you lied. Like, so, but like, technically I wasn't supposed to have any knowledge anyway. So like, but it just was like, that broke the game. So then I was like, oh, I don't want to play that game again, sort of thing. But yeah, I've derailed the conversation. Tell us about all the ways in which Star Wars is going to make Marvel United amazing.
Well, for me, and this is such like a shallow thing to say, but for me, the first reason why I would want it is just for the look of the game. I would love to see this chibi, colorful art style, and then somebody draws Boba Fett like that. Like the idea of that to me sounds beautiful, right? And then getting all the cards with their images on it. And with Star Wars, the tricky thing was, and it was almost a con, but not really, but the tricky thing is, yes, it's about good versus evil, so it fits the theme, but it's not superhero-esque in the sense where here's 1,000 good guys and 1,000 bad guys. It really is. It's a different sort of good versus evil thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like to do it justice, because there's so many facets of different types of characters, I feel like we would need, yes, have your basic heroes and villains and anti-heroes, but I don't even know if this would make a difference in game. And Andrea, this is where you come in. You would find a way to make this make a difference. But have you played the newest Lego Star Wars video game? Came out this year, I think.
No, I've only played like maybe one. I think I played like a demo version of one of the Star Wars games ages ago. It might have even been like a Phantom Menace type one or something like that. And
okay.
Yeah. So I'm not super familiar with the Lego one. I also found it very hard to control, so I haven't picked up any other versions of it or anything like that. But yeah. No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, yeah, they don't have the best controls. I don't blame you at all. But the newest game has a bunch of characters because it's the whole Skywalker saga. So they threw in everything, right? So to sort of make it easy to keep track of who you have and what they can do, they split the characters up into a lot of little categories. So you have heroes and villains, but then you have Jedi and Sith, who are their own categories. You have bounty hunters, you have droids, you have scavengers, and then you have like other sort of random ones. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if Andrea finds a way to really just, because he's always looking for new ways to play the game. So if he really wants to shake up the system, have your blue heroes and your red villains and your purple anti-heroes. But then what happens if you have green bounty hunters? What can they do? They can be heroes and villains too, but what can they do? What happens if you have yellow droids? What do they do?
Okay.
Right? And throw around some different things. So now all of a sudden, when we hear a character is coming out, when they're like, oh, they're coming out with So-So from The Empire Strikes Back, ooh, what color is he going to be and how's he going to play?
Yeah.
And really just sort of stretch the boundaries of what a United game can do and how it adapts characters to its system.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do Star Wars right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, bounty hunters, maybe you could have them like have little in-game goals that they, they're trying to hunt down certain characters and things like that. They could maybe nominate a baddie on the board or a goodie on the board or whatever. Droids, maybe, I don't know, maybe droids you could have an aspect of programming. So like you actually have to be like, you have to have set like your row of cards, or like you have like a row of 3 cards that are locked in. Like they're your next 3 cards that you have to play, so that you can discuss that with your, say, hey, look, this is what I've got coming up. You got to make sure you do something that's going to fit with mine. So, and then like so you start with those 3 at the beginning of the game or something. And then like, once you put one down, then I don't know, you draw 2 cards from your deck and you choose one to add to the row of programming. And then certain effects can let you rearrange, if you've made a mistake, you're like, oh, that's not going to work. Like you can rearrange it if you've got time and stuff. Maybe that's how droids could work. You could put the programming in or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. And it's a great way to keep everything feeling new. Keep every time an expansion box comes out, it's that much more exciting because it's like, okay, we know we're getting 8 characters in this box, but now not only are we asking who's it going to be in the box, but we're asking what color character are they going to be and what are they going to do. And then at the end of the day, you're still getting that Marvel United experience of, I really just want to see Rey fight Darth Maul because I want to know what that would look like, and you can have that happen.
That's cool. I like it. Yeah. And it's got spaceships and like you've got that aspect, like the vehicle, it's got plenty of that. And then force powers and interesting. Yeah, you know how like they always in a lot of board games recently, they've got this thing where they have like who has the balance of the force or whatever. Yeah, that could be a thing too. Jedi and Sith. If they're Jedi and Sith in the game, like they could be having sort of like their own separate mini game of like a battle of wills over who's been playing the most Jedi things and getting boosts or something like that as well. Yeah. Well, I was going to say that Star Wars is another half crossover because it was on my runners up list. So
nice.
We're narrowing down. Like we don't have to talk about as many runners up now because you've hit a few of them on the way through. Very cool. Very cool.
So that's my number 2.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you could have epic locations for that.
Yes.
You could even do space. Like you could actually have its own separate sort of thing. You know, like, different game modes. You could have like the space battles mode.
Oh,
so you could have like an expansion where like the locations are like space locations. And then the characters are like the different ships, like your X-Wing. Like, so yeah. And like maybe even some of the locations could be capital ships. And then you could have like a Galactus type battle with the Death Star in the middle.
Yes, totally.
Oh my God. Andrea, quick, get the rights.
Yes, please.
I want to play this game. All right. Or, no, I see, I'm loving doing all this homebrew stuff, but I'm not quite sure what the, because we're not selling any of it. It's all good, but like, I don't know, if anyone discovers it, are they going to like close it down?
I know, right? That's the scary part.
Anyway, because I feel like the Disney lawyers are probably pretty. They're probably out there.
They got their training from the set.
Yeah, that's right. All right. I built a giant Millennium Falcon. Do you guys have those things like you go to the newsagent or you guys have like, do they call it like a paper shop or a newsagent, like where you get like your newspapers and stuff? I don't know. Does anyone still buy a newspaper?
I know, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. We're a couple of old men here, so
I was writing my penny farthing down the road the other day, but I got this thing where like these magazines where they come with like one piece of like the Millennium Falcon, and you like subscribe to this thing over like 2 years, and you buy you get a new thing every 2 weeks or whatever. You get a new magazine, and you get like another piece of the Millennium Falcon, and then you build it, right? And it was like this scale model, the original. It's basically made based on the original like mock-up design they had in Empire Strikes Back or something like that they used for filming, sort of thing. It had like it's got like a metal frame on the inside, and you sort of screw the bits down on top and stuff. So it's this big, huge thing. It took me like 3 years to build. And when I finally built it, I filmed this little video because it had pop-up lights, and it has a little motor where you press a remote control and the door goes down and up and down and all that sort of stuff.
So cool.
So I did this little video of myself like just showing it off, and sort of going around with my camera, sort of doing the thing. And then I put I got like the Star Wars music, like whatever the I'm about to sing the Superman music, I think, but like the Star Wars music over the video, and I just to show my friends, and I posted on Facebook, and literally within a second, it was like gone, like this has been removed, blah blah blah, blah, infringes copyright, all this sort of stuff. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, the music. And so then I had to post this thing of this video in silence of me just like doing a panorama of this thing. It wasn't as epic. It was a really epic video with the music, but yeah, it got taken down immediately. Like, yeah, so Disney are on it. They're like, yeah.
Those lawyers don't sleep, man.
No, they don't. They're waiting there. They're like, they've got like this screen of all the different like Facebook screens around the world, and they're just like, they're watching for everyone. Yeah, it was torpedoed ASAP.
All right. Man.
I have no idea what number we're up to and whose turn it is, by the
way. We are on your number 1.
Oh, wow. Okay. We
got there.
What a moment to forget. I'm like, my number 1. All right. So number 1 is, all right. So this one, again, I probably alluded to it sort of thing, but this is like my number 1. It's the thing I'm sort of probably most obsessed with at the moment, and the IP that I'm into and stuff at the moment. So it's just fresh. It's like what I really love. And that is One Piece. So it's now we're still in the world of anime. Mm-hmm. And so One Piece and My Hero was like, oh, should I be naming stuff that we haven't started dabbling in anyway? But I'm like, no, this is my list. This is what I really, really, really want to see. And this is I've got to give props to Nelly Nell and Helios on Discord, because they're the two guys that really are running this thing and putting a lot of effort into making the villains and heroes and stuff for this. But it's a big epic anime series. It's sort of like a Pirate Odyssey sort of thing. It's like zany, madcap. It's got this. It follows the adventures of this kid named Monkey D. Luffy, and Luffy, because he's it's like a Japanese title, obviously. So like Luffy is his first name, sort of thing. So Luffy. He's just this kid. I don't know. He's probably about 15 or something like that, and he wants to be king of the pirates. And it's this crazy world where like it's kind of run by pirates, and there's all these different huge, powerful pirate factions. But it's also got this huge world government and huge navy that work for the world government, and they're always like pitted against each other, and everyone's looking for this fabled treasure sort of thing that's going to sort of give them the mandate to be the all-powerful king of the pirates sort of thing. It's almost like a mythical chase sort of thing, like a elder, search for the lost city of gold type thing. And it's just a really epic, just sprawling, long-running series that it follows the adventures of Luffy and his crew, and every one of his crew members is like a super memorable, super fun character. You've got the cook, and you've got the navigator, and you've got the the first mate, and you've got the sniper, or the shipwright, and all these sort of things. But each of them is like a super powerful sort of hero in their own right, sort of thing. So like the cook is like he's a really good cook, but he's got like, for some reason, because he doesn't want to damage his, I think the original reason was like, because he's a cook and he wants to keep his hands safe sort of thing, he's developed a fighting style where he only uses his feet. So he's like really good at kicking people, and he's so good at kicking people that he can like make his foot go on fire and like do fireballs out of his foot and all this sort of stuff. And then it does have its own sort of set of superheroes in this world as well, who are called devil fruit eaters. And so there's all these like devil fruits out in the world, these fabled fruits. And if you can find one and eat it, it gives you some crazy power. So Luffy, he ate the gum fruit, which makes him rubber. So his whole body is rubber. So he's got all these crazy powers he can do. He can balloon himself up, or he can like stretch his arms out, and he's a bit like Mr. Fantastic in that sort of sense. And
Sweet.
all these crazy powers sort of thing. I don't want to go into too much of it because I don't want to because it's such an epic story. I don't want to spoil too many of the different character moments and things like that. But yeah, just super fun world. And because the powers are so like, there's like, all these games have superpowers and stuff in them, but the powers are so crazy in this game. They're like super fun to do. Even the characters that don't have like the devil fruit powers have really funny, crazy powers. They're just epic characters. They're just so fun, and it's just a really fun world to sort of experience. And like I've never enjoyed. There's something there is sorry there it's going to be in my follow-up sort of thing, but there's a series I've enjoyed probably almost as much, but it's just such an epic. I'm just enjoying the ride of this like epic long-running series, and it goes for like thousands and thousands of episodes or whatever. And I think it's like I don't know 100%, but it's like it's like either the longest running anime or longest running manga or something like that, or it's got some sort of title to it that it's like, it's a really long lasting sort of series sort of thing. But it's really super popular, and I think it's on Netflix now as well, so you can check it on that, or it's got like a big chunk of the episodes on it sort of thing. But yeah, really fun. The villains are epic. Like the battles and the fights go for like 20 episodes sort of thing. Like they're just so good. And so by the time they get to the end of like a big villain fight, you just like, it's so cathartic when they like finally take them down. It's really good. So like it just makes, so like when I'm thinking about villains, like when I'm thinking about One Piece villains, I'm like, oh yes, we've got to fight that guy, because I have such good memories of the epicness of that clash sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, really, really fun. I definitely recommend checking out the series and stuff, but it doesn't really make much sense for putting them into the Marvel world, but like just with the fun of like one of the things I just like the idea of all these IPs just for the fun of the mashup, like that smash up game.
Yeah.
So I don't care if I've got Luffy next to Batman, not Batman. Well, I guess if you get Luffy next to Iron Man or whatever. Super fun. And actually, in the world of anime, I think they do a lot of these crossovers because like I've seen like just random episodes where they just put these One Piece characters into like Dragon Ball Z.
Oh wow!
Mashups and stuff like that. So it suits that sort of thing too, where they and they don't seem to give any explanation for it. They'll just be this random episode where these characters are just interacting, and it's like it doesn't follow the continuity of the story at all. They just are in this other world sort of thing. So
just for fun.
Yeah. So and I don't have any. Well, I guess apart from it's anime, and that sometimes can be a little bit problematic with whether you want young kids playing some of the themes as well. This one's much more kid friendly, like than My Hero. There's a lot of dark stuff with the villains and stuff, but this one, it's just some of that silly. Some of the characters are a little bit pervy, you know what I mean? Like, so,
right.
But this one doesn't seem as bad as a lot of other ones, so it's a lot more tame. Like I'm fairly comfortable with my daughter sort of watching it and that sort of thing. So it's very tame on the anime standards. So yeah, very cool. But yeah, other than that, I've got no cons for this one. It's just I love it. It's such fun, zany characters. It fits with the fun zaniness of like the Marvel United with the chibis and stuff. So yeah, and there's some cool chibis you can get for this game for One Piece as well.
Perfect.
Oh, actually, hold on. I totally forgot I had these set up. So here we go. This is Monkey D. Luffy. So, little guy here. And then you felt like this. I've got to tell you about Zoro. Zoro is probably my favorite character in the whole show. He's the best, or he's training to be the best sword fighter in the whole world. And the whole thing that makes him the best sword fighter in the whole world is he's developed the 3 sword style, where he puts one sword in his mouth. So he's got no superpowers. He hasn't eaten any devil fruits, but because he holds the sword in his mouth and has 3 swords, he instantly defeats every other swordsman in the whole show.
That's amazing.
And then you've got Nami, who's the navigator. She's pretty cool as well. But you can see it's got that sort of chibi sort of style. So these are kind of, and they're a very similar size too, so they fit in well with the stuff. So yeah. Anyway, that's my number one. It's not probably the most marketable because I don't know if it's as well known, but it's the one that I love. It's the one that there's people doing a really good job of making really excellently, in my opinion, designed characters in that homebrew space as well. So and there's a lot. I want to do a video soon showing off what has been designed already by these guys, and it's getting to the point now where I'm like, man, I've left it too late. I'm gonna have to do like 2 or 3 videos. There's so many characters they've made, sort of thing. So yeah.
Sweet.
Very cool.
Even though I'm a guy who never really got into anime, I've always been aware of One Piece. I guess it's been around since the 80s, right? Like,
well, that's yeah.
So it's like it's got time behind it, where it's like you kind of can't live without knowing it exists. And I had heard it was a long show. I didn't know it was that long. That's awesome. Thousands of episodes. And just from what you're telling me, it sounds hilarious. The world building sounds beautiful. So I think it's perfect for something like this. That's a great pick.
And I'm even putting up with, I watch it on Crunchyroll at the moment, and I haven't, because, cost of living crisis and all, we're also buying all the Marvel United stuff. I haven't, got the premium version or anything like that. So I'm putting up with like 20 minutes of ads interrupting this half an hour show.
Oh no.
everything, and I still I'm putting up with it because I just enjoying the show so much. And at the moment all the ads are about Zelda anyway, so I'm enjoying watching the ads too. So it plays Crunchyroll, man. It plays the same ad over and over again, like 5 times in a row. It's like, okay, show me 5 ads, but show me 5 different ads. Not the same ad over and over again. Yeah. Anyway, but it's good. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I keep people, all my friends who are anime fans have kept telling me if there is going to be a gateway drug for me, it's going to be One Piece, because I love like epic long stories, and they said like it doesn't get any epicer or longer than this. So,
yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. I love it. All right. So you're number one.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for your one.
So I got maybe too mainstream here, maybe too predictable here, but I had to listen to my heart.
Yeah, okay.
And at the end of the day, my heart told me the only thing that would make me happier than the chibi hobgoblin that I'm about to get in 12 months would be like a chibi Riddler to be his friend. So I gotta go with DC. I really like, at the end of the day, I thought, am I too basic for picking DC? But when I think back to like my fond childhood memories and everything, I mean, my dad and my parents were divorced, so my dad was always like, I would go see him like every other weekend and stuff. And our thing to do together was he would take me to like a comic book store. And we would get, for whatever weird reason, I didn't want comics. We would get trading cards.
Okay, yeah, no, so fair enough.
Yeah, we love, and like
trading cards. Like that was, man, back in the day. Like I can understand you going for trading cards over comics for sure. Yeah. Huge, yeah.
The kids today, they don't know, man. They don't know what a game trading cards was back in the day. It was this whole, it was an establishment unto itself. And we, like, dad got excited about it too. It wasn't just like, okay, kid, here's your cards. Like, he was like, all right, let's go. We would get these Spider-Man ones and we were trying to get the whole set. And I think like Carnage was the last one left to get. And he's like, dad is calling shops all over the Toronto area. Like, do you have the Carnage card? So he would get into it with me. And we would get so many different sets. We had got Marvel sets, we got DC sets all over the place. But one that I remember, and I still have them all, was the card set. It was 100 cards of DC versus Marvel.
Okay.
When I know it was based off a comic, which I have never had the chance to read, and I tried to buy it once like 3 years ago, and Amazon was asking more money for it than I think even the founder of Amazon could afford, so it wasn't happening. But thankfully, the cards gave me a peek into what that story would look like, and it kind of set my imagination afire. And I mean, at the end of the day, the worlds are so similar that it would, a DC United would feel almost just like a season 4 of Marvel United. And maybe some people might see that as a bad thing, like it's too similar. To me, though, that is just candy for my eyes and my heart and my soul. Like, yes, please give me a Riddler, give me an expansion box that's all Green Lantern characters, because like that's my favorite. Give me the Crisis on Infinite Earths, give me a huge Anti-Monitor, give me all of that beautiful stuff, and I will be a happy lad. That's all my heart needs.
Yeah. I think this is I think probably it would have been my number one pick for what I thought you would have. Like I thought you'd probably have this there, and like 100% that, like, don't worry about being basic or whatever, because it's like it's the one that makes sense, right? It's like and if you love it, that's great. So this is the one. If this was Dice Tower, this would be the one that I'd be giving you a lot of. I'd be ribbing you a lot for this one, because this is one of my like garbage pick, garbage. but that's because I personally don't hate DC, but I never, like, growing up, I never read the comics. So the characters, to me, I don't have an attachment to. And because of that, they kind of seem a bit like, nah, to me. Like, I'm just like, they're kind of like half-rate Marvel characters. But I'm sure I'm annoying a lot of the DC fans. But yeah, that's just my sort of personal experience of the heroes and that sort of stuff. I will say, with the exception of Batman, I think Batman, obviously, he's almost a whole universe to himself. Like,
exactly,
he's his own thing. Like, he'd be 100% awesome. But I think it's the one that makes, of all, way more than My Hero Academia. It's the one that makes the most sense, because it's like, what are the two comic book worlds really? It's like Marvel and DC, and there's already that precedent of Marvel versus DC crossovers all over the place, so it works. My biggest thing why it's my least favorite of all the IP crossover ideas is because I know that it's the one that's the most likely. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, lawyer-wise, maybe it's the least likely, right? But I feel like it's the one that's the most likely, right? And because it's the most likely, I see it as in the way of all the ones that I really want. You know what I mean? Like, so, like,
yes.
Oh, maybe in some world we would get, Transformers, but we won't, because what we will get, they'll put all their effort into doing DC, because that's
Exactly.
way easier. You know what I mean? Like,
it's standing in the way.
Because it's way easier, because there's like the bajillion characters. They're all perfectly set up for the Marvel, because they're essentially the same thing. They, you don't have to do it. Like, so it would be so easy to make this. I feel like they wouldn't have to invest as much in having to think about other things, and it wouldn't be as much of a risky gamble. Like, it's just like, this would be money in the bank. You know what I mean? Like, that it would be guaranteed bajillion dollars. So like, if they were like, oh, there was talk, they're really stretching the Marvel seasons, like they're not going to make as much money with this season, all this sort of stuff. If they did a DC one, they would like balloon that out, and it'd be like potentially, like it's, you think these days, whenever like they have the new, like, biggest Kickstarter, like, the Kickstarter that made the most money in board games or whatever. I reckon DC United could potentially be, considering how big Marvel United sort of got, and its big reputation it gets with, like, Tom Vassell and those sort of guys, the plugging that they give it.
Yeah.
If you did the DC version, man, I reckon you'd get. And even people like me that are like, I don't want a DC version, I'd still back it. 100%. You know what I mean? I would learn to love all those DC characters, like, because here's my opportunity to actually learn about them and have them in chibi style, and so yes, very good pick, much more marketable than my number one, I think.
I mean, you said some magic words right there, though. You said learn to love, which is a perfect example, because like there's so many characters. Even as like a guy who also loves Marvel, like I never really had a favorite between the two. Like, they were just both these big, beautiful worlds that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But there's so many characters in Marvel United where I'm like, Husk. Who the heck is Husk? I don't know, but I'm excited to play as Husk now.
Yes,
and like, even with the season 2, I was like, I don't know who Dupe is, but I'm really glad you are giving me the ability to play as Dupe, because that's effort. Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dupe is just Slimer from the Ghostbusters.
I think so.
Yeah.
The lawyers let that one slip.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, the fact that I could potentially one day, and like you said, it is very likely, I could potentially one day have Wonder Woman team up with Captain America on my tabletop. Like, that sounds incredible. And do you remember when you'd be watching cartoons as a kid, and like, the show would end and the credits would roll, and the announcer for the television station would start to talk about, like, coming up next, blah, blah, Inspector Gadget, whatever.
Yeah, because they had to get you to stick around, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have this vivid memory of, I don't know what I was watching. It might have been like Power Rangers or Batman the Animated Series or something. And I was playing with something, so I wasn't really tuned in. And then the show ended and the credits rolled, and that announcer comes on, and they said, is Spider-Man stronger than Batman? Find out this Saturday. And I'm like, wait, what? And I never heard the rest of the thing, and I never got to see what this was. And to, like, on my deathbed, my family's going to be like, what are your last words? And be like, I never saw that thing.
Well, so that's why, come on, Andrea, oh man, I can't believe I'm asking for DC versus. Well, okay, Andrea, if you promise to do some of those other IPs as well, get onto DC so that we can have Andrew finally get to see who is stronger, Spider-Man or Batman, because we want to pair them up together and see who takes down the villain at the end, so who has the stronger card set. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, I would love that. And I mean, if they really wanted to make me happy, get comic rights and movie rights, because imagine a whole box where the whole box is Batman, but it's Adam West and George Clooney and Michael Keaton.
Like, yes.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Because you've got the Wolverine verse already in Marvel, where you got all the different Wolverines. So yeah, having multiple, that'd be one of those, and then we'd get to listen to all the people complaining about dupes as well. Like, we don't need that. But I think Batman would be the Spider, because there's a million Spider-Man in Thingy, and it makes sense. I think Batman would be the one in Marvel. Oh no, no, it wouldn't. It'd be Flash, because Flash does the whole. He's got like the million different Flashes.
Yeah, there are a lot of Flashes.
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. See, I think. I don't know, but James Gunn, most of the stuff he's done, I've tended to be into. So with him taking control of the DCU, maybe that will sort of peak, and like maybe that will raise my interest in DC as well. We'll see. And that's that's the other thing too. If they get that thing up off the ground and it becomes popular, just like when they first launched Marvel United, I think you and was it James were talking about this the other day. Like that's what like when they first released that, they cashed in on the popularity of the MCU, and that's what sort of like made it so profitable, I reckon, because you got all the comic book readers buying Marvel United, but you also got all the MCU, just the casual moviegoer fans watching, like, interested in that game as well. So maybe they can sort of time that with the DC one as well.
Yeah, it's very reactionary how they did that.
Yeah.
So here's hoping that
you're right. So give them a couple of years to establish the DCU. Hopefully it works. And then, all right. But I still want One Piece.
Yes, still make One Piece, Andre.
Well, but see, here's the thing, though. Like, I think the beauty of the fact that Nelly and Helios have done the One Piece, like they've done such a good job with that. Really, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we don't need One Piece because it's already been done, right? So you may as well do the actual marketable, proper one sort of thing. Very cool, very cool. Yeah. I think that's a worthy number one to finish on. We had the sort of real just pie in the sky number one, and then we have the actual number one. So very cool.
I'm sure there's millions of audiences for both of them. Our only concern is how much space do we have and how much money do we have to, back all of these? Because I want them all.
Mate, and making all these bloody homebrew things, I am running out of cards and sleeves to I'm going through old games that I don't use the cards anymore, and and sleeve. And because I made the decision to sleeve Marvel United in the old Fantasy Flight size sleeves, which I only have, I've got a million of them, but I've only got a finite collection of them. They'll reach a point where I won't have the right size sleeves because they don't make them anymore, I don't think, for anything new that comes out. So I'm like, I'm a bit stressed about that. Yeah. All right. Should we, that's been a super fun list. Should we talk about, I think we hit most of them. Should we talk about honorable mentions? All right. So here, let's have a look. So let's talk about the ones that I had. I had Star Wars as an honorable mention. And then I didn't write it down, but another specific one I want to call out would be Masters of the Universe. That's one I think I was toying with and I just forgot about it earlier on. But that's another one with heaps of characters and lots of fun powers and stuff like that. So that'd be a cool one. Star Wars for sure. Like Star Wars, if I wasn't so heavily into anime at the moment, I think Star Wars would be like right up there with my top picks, because it's mate, I would love to have Chewie and Han Solo flying around in the Millennium Falcon doing something there. That'd be fun.
Even just the joy of seeing characters being unlocked Star Wars wise, where it's like, you're going to get the core boxes with those A-tier things. So like that Kickstarter chain of unlocking where it's oh my God, it's that clone trooper that everybody likes, right? Like,
they need the stormtrooper who hits his head on the door as he walks through. They need like the stormtrooper and just attached to the model is like just the top of the door. That'd be cool. But all those guys, because remember, like as a kid, like that was the other big thing we were collecting back in those days was all the Star Wars things, and they had all of them. They had all the background characters in Jabba's palace, like this guy and the Gamorrean guards and stuff like. Oh yeah, all those dudes would be cool. Another one that has that. I think this is my last big one, I think. Oh, no, hold on. Okay, so we had the Super Smash Warhammer. So Games Workshop, Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000. I think that would be maybe in terms of like the theme of like running around chasing a villain doesn't quite match up. But in terms of like a really popular world, really popular series of characters, especially if you base it around like the special character, like heroes and stuff from that world, from both those worlds. Yeah, I'm kind of lumping Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000 together here. I think that could be a really popular set sort of thing. And plus, because all those characters had super over the top abilities and that sort of thing as well. I think that'd be an interesting one. And you've got the models already because you've got all the Warhammer models. So that's kind of like an oddball off the wall one, but I think that'd be an interesting one. But I had. Did you guys get the show? It's based on that Travel to the West or Journey to the West or something with Monkey and Pigsy and those guys, and did you guys and there was a show called Monkey. I used to call it I think everyone in my school used to call it Monkey Magic because the song was like Monkey Magic, and but apparently it was just called Monkey, so I've been calling it Monkey Magic for all this time. But it's if you've ever played those games with like Sun Wukong and that sort of thing, there was a really fun, just super campy, I think it was actually a Japanese show. It was dubbed sort of thing, Japanese actors and stuff, but it's like this Chinese tale of like Monkey and these like guys following I think he's like a monk going on this journey to get some scrolls for Buddha or something like that. I'm butchering the story, I apologize. But that had some really funny sort of over the top characters and stuff like that. But that's another one that's like, it's really so small and contained that it'd be like a Ninja Turtles type one, where you don't have you wouldn't be able to make a big whole season out of it or anything like that. But another one that I think, and this is my last runner up, again, it was such an epic show. It's probably because it's finished, it is like my favorite viewing experience because One Piece is still going, but that's Avatar: The Last Airbender. Right? Just such an epic show, such an epic world, such a great arc for the whole thing. Characters are so cool. You've got that whole world of bending, so cool powers and all that sort of stuff. You can even have like a rock, scissors, paper type thing, maybe, where like some powers, but I don't know. That wasn't really a thing, I don't think, in the show though. Like water benders weren't like better against whatever. But anyway, it just reminds me that I'm remembering all my toys from the childhood. Do you remember those toys that were like you'd rub the decal on or the sticker on them, and they were like water, earth, and fire or whatever?
Yeah, one of them was wood, I think.
Wood, yeah. And wood beat water because it floated or something.
Battle Beasts. I think they're called Battle Beasts. Yeah.
Oh my god! So I'm just remembering that. So there's another. Add that to the list of IPs.
Yeah, that's got a lot of characters too.
Yeah. But that was such an epic show, and so I just love it. So I'd love to see it in this. But I feel like as epic as it was, and as many characters as they were, I think there weren't really that many interesting characters that would make characters that you'd play with. Like it had, like you'd have a decent amount, but there were lots of characters in that were just kind of like civilians and stuff that were sort of like they'd run into and talk to and stuff. But like the actual fighters and stuff, I don't know that there were that many sort of things. So I think it would be, I'd love to put it on the list, but I think it'd be like a Ninja Turtles thing again, where like you wouldn't be able to have a huge amount of character. If I'm remembering it right, I don't like, there are a fair amount. It's more than say the Ninja Turtles box, right? But it reaches a certain point where like there's just not enough characters. Like you've got, I suppose you could do the Legend of Korra as well, but again, even that's limited to a degree, sort of thing. So yeah. But anyway,
right. It would be a smaller set, but there is a lot of great stuff to work with in there, and I know they're making more. They're building out this Avatar universe a bunch, and I mean, if you get the rights to Avatar, you kind of already have the rights to Dragon Prince as well, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, okay. So maybe let's do your idea of Saturday morning cartoons, let's shift gears and let's now do this. I can't believe I forgot about it until now. The revival of essentially like the Netflix anime shows. So you've got like your because you've got even though I don't think it started on Netflix, but the Legend of, I guess, Nickelodeon Netflix anime, right? So you got your Dragon Prince, you've got your Legend of Avatar. What's it called? Legend of
Korra.
Legend of Korra, the Last Airbender. That's the one I was. Yep. But have you seen you could go either way because both were great. But Voltron.
Ooh, I heard it's good. I haven't seen it.
Oh, mate, the new Voltron is amazing, and also because they finish it and you can watch it and you're going to get a good ending because it all comes together. I mean, that's arguable. Maybe you don't like the ending, but like it goes for like, I don't know, 7 or 8 seasons or something like that. But it's like it finishes, so that's good on its own terms, sort of thing. But that's great. But also like you've got the original Voltron and then like Vehicle Voltron.
Right. There's a lot there.
The rest of this video is just going to be me remembering shows like, oh, Ulysses. Do you remember Ulysses? But I've pretty much hit the end of my runners-up list. But now it's just going to be any 80s show or something I remember. I'm just going to be. But actually, I should mention on the Netflix stuff. Nelly has also. He's just dropped. He's come up with a new series that he's starting to design characters for, and that's the new Castlevania Netflix show as well.
Oh.
So he's got like the Dracula as the bad guy. He's got like Belmont, is it Trevor Belmont, and I forget the girl's name, but then he's got Dracula's son Alucard and stuff. So there's a bunch. He's starting to build out that world as well. So
that show was a lot of fun.
Yeah, very very violent. I think you might need to get like a little pot of red paint or something when you play that, and you've got to splash it over your models every time you do an attack, because it's just like it's super gory. But yeah, it was cool. Yeah, mate, that was a good fun list and also a good trip down memory lane.
It was totally lots of nostalgia in there.
Yeah.
For my runner-up, I only had the one that I really wanted to bring up, and that was Disney and Pixar.
Oh,
I feel like it's more limited than the stuff that we put on our big lists, but you do at the end of the day have a lot of cool heroes with all kinds of different shapes and powers and whatever, and a lot of fun villains. So, I mean, at the end of the day, just the idea of, hey, it's Sleeping Beauty and she's going to team up with Buzz Lightyear and they're going to fight Jafar. That's enticing to me. Like that sounds like, and obviously for kids, for families, like it's a no-brainer, right? Like they would be all over that.
Totally. Yeah. Especially how like marketed, I don't know about marketed towards them, but like how, well, I guess marketed towards families, Marvel United is. Like it's probably even more money in the bank than DC United. I mean, it's a big call. That's a big call.
Probably.
But,
I mean, they don't have to call a whole new batch of lawyers. Like it's already there. Andrea already designed Iceman, so he designed Elsa. Like really, all you have to do is hire the artist. So it all works.
Is The Incredibles, is that Disney or Pixar?
That's Pixar.
It's Pixar. Well, you got Frozone as well.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
And we could have Edna.
Yes.
Put Edna in. Yeah. Oh no, I like it. That's cool. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, that would be fun. These would all be fun. I would play any one of these.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And well, that's the beauty is any of these things that we've discussed. Like if you want to and you commit to not selling it and profiting off it, you can make your homebrew stuff, right? So lots of good ideas there for people to dabble in, sort of thing. And actually DC, I think there are some people in the Marvel United Discord thingies. I haven't sort of been part of their like working with them or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure there's a group that's working on DC characters.
Oh,
so
sweet.
yeah. So probably like one of the reasons I haven't shown it on the channel is just because I'm like I said, I'm not really that into DC. So I've kind of picked just things that I'm interested in, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that, like, I think World of Warcraft, people are working on that in the thing and stuff as well. So if definitely worth checking out if people are interested in seeing what other worlds are out there that actually can be accessed at the moment, sort of thing. So
yeah, I got to check out that Discord, because every time you bring it up, there sounds like there's a lot of cool stuff going on there, and just like people who love Marvel United, just making it an even more fun place to be. So
yeah, and everyone in there seems to be really like helpful. Like they share resources, they share. So the only reason I was able to sort of build some of the stuff I've built is because the people who actually know how to design stuff in the Photoshop, like design templates, and they share them on there, and then you can access them and manipulate them yourself and stuff. So really super friendly, super helpful, giving each other advice and feedback back and forth and stuff. So yeah,
that sounds like an awesome
excellent
place.
Mm.
Well, we did it. We
did.
On our wish list.
We got there. That was like when you suggested that idea, I was like, yes, that one. That's a cool thing to talk about. Yeah. It was super, thank you for having us. It was like a super fun hangout. I was really enjoying getting to like share these are those ideas, like no one else in my world like is into this sort of stuff. So like I can't go to work and be like, guess what? I know what I want to do. Wouldn't it be great if we could have this in Marvel United? They're like, what are you talking about? Like, so this, super fun. And you're like, videos are always great. So like,
thank you, man.
Super fun to listen to, and just like, the discussions and the talking points and stuff, always really good. So you got me pumped to go see the new Spider-Man movie and stuff as well.
Spider-Verse, yes.
Spider-Verse, yeah.
Spider-Verse, it's happening. Yeah. It's a beautiful movie, man. You are gonna love it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. No, I've got no doubt too. Like it's not one of those ones where I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'll like it. I'm like, I sort of know I'm gonna like this one.
Oh, so. Yeah, you're in for a treat. Definitely a movie that you need to buy so you can pause it, because there's literally every frame is like it's like a look and find book. There's so much happening.
It's like Where's Wally, or
exactly.
Is it Where's Wally or Where's Waldo for you guys?
In North America, it's Where's Waldo, but I remember reading about it as Where's Wally, and I've seen Where's Wally versions too.
Yeah. Where's Spidey?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So Meeple Monkey, where can people find you if they want to check out your videos? Because you were doing some awesome Marvel United content.
They can find me. The channel's just called the Meeple Monkey. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. I'm like, did I call it Meeple Monkey or the Meeple Monkey? But and I just my channel's pretty low budget. I just basically film. Well, I started out just filming unboxings because I got a game years ago that I wanted to show off, because people were asking about it in the Kickstarter. Like they were like, oh, we don't have this game yet. Someone who gets it, please like send a video of it. And I live in Australia, as you can probably tell from the accent. And with Australia, with Kickstarter, you either tend to get it first or last, right? Ricky Bobby, you're either first or last. And so this happened to get it like first. It arrived on my birthday too. It was a game called Tank Garden. And so I did an unboxing for that, just and I made a channel for it, and it was during, I'm pretty sure it was during COVID time as well. So like I was at home and stuff, and I thought, that'd be fun making some videos, and I can use that at school and stuff, learn how to do the making videos and stuff. And then from there I was like, oh, that was fun. And then I made more unboxings and stuff, and then eventually I thought, I should try doing a game, and I played a game or something like that, and then the second game I think I played was Marvel United, and then since then I haven't gone back. It's so easy to film, set up. It's not not the best production quality in the world, but I just really love it. And then very kindly, some friends lent me I was just filming on my phone for the first year or two, so it's like very hard to make out what's going on it's like filmed in like 200p or something, and all the comments were like, why would you film it like this? And I'm like, that's all I've got my phone. So but then someone lent me a halfway decent camera, so now you can kind of make out what's going on, sort of thing. So so long story short, lots of Marvel United videos, and that's pretty much all I kind of do at the moment. I do try to sort of branch out, and I've done like an unmatched game and that sort of stuff, but I'm not like a full-on YouTuber, I guess. Like I don't I sort of have to balance like being able to squeeze a video in maybe one weekend here or there, sort of thing. So apologies if I'm not as prolific as some folks would like, but I'm trying to get, as many videos as I can get out there as I can, and just film fun Marvel United gameplay for you. And at the moment, I'm really deep diving into this homebrew thing and just showing off people's designs and that sort of thing, and how they're going with those. So that's been a lot of fun as well. But yeah, and who knows what the channel will turn into down the track, but at the moment it's sticking strong to Marvel United. So
hey, and I love, that's how I found you, because I was you got your season 2 earlier than most people, at least earlier than I did up in Canada here. So I was so eager to get my hands on it that I saw, I'm like, oh, this guy's got it. I'm going to live vicariously through him for the next month or so. So I just watched you unbox with like a big smile on my face. I'm like, it's so beautiful.
Well, that's how my channel, like, it works. It's like, if I get a Kickstarter that I know it hasn't arrived anywhere else, I'm like, well, I may as well film an unboxing because I'll get some hits here because no one else has got it. I either get like world press. In fact, the Marvel one was funny. The Marvel one, I got a comment because I don't know if you remember, I was going through all the characters, and at the time I still didn't know who half the characters were, so I'm picking out like Shadow King and stuff, and I'm going, who's this guy? Kingpin? I don't know. He's a big guy, sort of thing. And some guy in the comments left this, but he didn't. I think what he must have done is he left an angry comment, but then he must have like deleted it or something, because I saw it in my updates, but it didn't. And then I went back because it basically said like, how dare you, Shadow King? That's obviously this guy or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. You're the world premiere of unboxing for this video. Like, no one else has got it in the world. And you can't even get the names right. Like, for shame.
Wow.
Apologies to that person for putting on it. silly voice. But which is fair enough. Fair point. Like, I never do any research. I just turn the camera on and make up stuff as I go along, sort of thing. But I was like, I wanted to like respond to him and say, oh, look, sorry, appreciate the feedback, sorry, sort of thing. But I went in and the comment wasn't there anymore. And I was like, and at first I thought, what's happened? And I couldn't find it. But then I think I sort of worked out, what's happened is he's posted it and then he's deleted it or something. But then later on, I jumped into the Discord and I discovered that I'd recognized like the name that guy had used in the Discord. And I actually went in and I was like, apologies if like this is like a random, you're not the person I'm talking to, but like I just wanted to apologize for that video if you thought it was not well produced or whatever. I'll take your feedback on board and stuff like that. And he responded and he was like, oh yeah, that was me, I'm really sorry, I was having a bad day and stuff. Wow. But I was like, oh yeah, so it was nice to be able to talk to him and clear the air and that sort of stuff as well. But I remember that I have to be mindful that sometimes it's like, if I'm lucky enough to get the game early, I have to try and do a good job with the video and get my facts right and stuff, although I don't always do that. So yeah.
Hey, I mean, the video was entertaining. At the end of the day, you were excited to get the game, and that's what made me happy. I saw an unboxing for Marvel United Season 1, and I won't name names. I don't even remember who the YouTuber was, to be honest, but maybe he was having a bad day, but it was the most miserable unboxing. He was just like, and this is Hawkeye, I guess. I don't care. Whatever. Vision. Vision, is that his name? Whatever. Yeah, that's great. And I'm just like, dude, you're talking about a board game. Where's your joy? So I will take you for getting characters' names any day of the week, my friend. Seriously.
well, good, because it's going to happen. Nice. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. So that's my world that I operate in, sort of thing, at the moment. So pretty. So I'm getting close. I've been going back and forth between 393 subscribers. I got to 398 the other day, but it keeps going back and forth. I'm like 396, back to 391, and it usually happens. I get really. I'm like, oh man, I got to put a video up. I'm losing subscribers, and I'll put a video up and I'll lose more as soon as I post the thing. But it's getting there. I'm close to 400. I'm in the big league soon. So
everybody watching this, go subscribe right now.
No, don't, because it's only if you want to. But it's it's just a fun sort of not really a professional outfit sort of thing. So just enjoy it if you can. But yeah. I think you commented once. You said like, oh, he's got this really professional setup and like he knows how to film the games really well. He's got this really good. And I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you talking about? I don't know. I don't even know how to get my sound working at the beginning of the video.
Anyway, I can see your board. It works.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, that's good. Awesome. Well, this has been super fun. So yeah, thanks for having us. So this is interesting. So this is Stream something or StreamYard or something.
StreamYard, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll have to dabble and look into it and see if maybe I can host you at some point or something on my channel or something and work it out.
That'd be awesome.
Maybe we could. I don't know how. Yeah, we could play virtually or something. I don't know. Do it over Zoom or something. But yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Sounds
thank you.
good, man.
Thanks very much. Looking forward to more conversations down the track and stuff like that, whether I'm watching them or not, sort of thing. So
same here.
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
got to make that wait go by somehow, right? So.
Yeah. Oh, and I just got a little plug here too. If you're after a good epic read as well, side scroller. I don't know. Is that back to front? Oh no, that's actually
no.
good.
You got it the right way.
Really top author here as well. Yeah, good read. My daughter's been scribbling all over the side of it and stuff, but
hey, that's only going to increase the quality, I promise.
Yeah. No, very good, very good.
Thanks so much, man. It's been a blast having you on the show. I can't wait to talk more Marvel United in the future. This is great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, Meeple Monkey out. See ya.